We welcome you to Everett, Washington for the 2017 USA Ultimate Pro Championships. It's time for the mixed final as the second leg of the Triple Crown Tour culminates today from Archbishop Murphy High School, San Francisco Blackbird, and Seattle Mixtape. Blackbird went just 1-2 on Saturday in pool play, but a win over Dragon Thrust in the semis avenged one of the losses. They try to avenge their other loss from Saturday 2 days later here on Labor Day Monday. And we welcome you in. It is great to have you with us. I'm Evan Lepler alongside Megan Tormey. She's played at Nationals 7 times. And this Seattle Mixtape team has really had a great season. They won the first leg of the Triple Crown Tour. They go for number 2 today.
And they look poised to do just that today. They are feeling good. They're coalescing as a team, and they look like this performance can be sustained for months to come.
Well, they got to face a San Francisco Blackbird team that has national championship experience. They won their very first year as a program back in 2011, and in fact, they went back-to-back. And while they haven't won it all since then, this might be their most talent since they won it all in 2012.
A few crucial additions to this team has really added to their offensive power. They also have a head coach this year, Pavin Parikh, who has added a lot of mental ingenuity to help them make additions during tournament time.
They're trying to peak in October, but they may play their best ultimate this weekend. If Mac Taylor is healthy, he's had a shoulder issue, but when he's on the field, he's a game changer, unlike really anyone else in the mixed division.
Absolutely. They typically have him on offense when he's feeling well, and everything runs through him. They're going to have him playing primarily on defense today, but he's going to use his acute field sense and his 6'3" frame to make things very difficult for Mixtape.
Meanwhile, you've got the Seattle Mixtape squad that has a history of coming in second, a history that they thrashed with their win in Blaine, Minnesota at the US Open, and these guys are just seemingly gaining more confidence every game they play.
The chemistry they have developed over the years is really starting to peak this year as we watch them continue to outperform the competition. Mark
Burton, a scary moment in the semifinals against BFG. He went down with an injury right around 13 all. His teammates got the job done 15-14, and he's going to give it a go today.
He says he's feeling good today, but you never know exactly how that's going to play out during game time. This guy, when he's feeling healthy, he can do it all. His teammates really trust him to keep an eye on the disc when he's playing on defense, and then when his team is on O, he will make the spectacular grabs necessary to put one on the board for Mixtape.
It'd be fun to watch Burton and Taylor go head-to-head. This is going to be a fantastic championship game. It begins a triple header of championship coverage from Seattle. The USA Ultimate Pro Championships start next. The USA Ultimate Pro Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar. Find the official disc of USA Ultimate at more than 1,900 U.S. retail locations. San Francisco Blackbird as a starting lineup with Castle Sinacrope as a cutter, Melina Wiebe, one of the leading goal scorers in the tournament, and Bars Lang, one of the leading highlight makers in the tournament. VY Chow, a veteran champion, with Tim Gilligan and Yokawa Oka, both with revolver roots. Pavin Parikh, the first ever head coach in the history of Blackbird. Seattle Mixtape has the always energetic Cam Bailey as one of the cutters. Lexi Garrity and Khalif El-Salam. Khalif's old friend Henry Fan, one of the handlers with Jen City. Jen Cogburn, a dangerous defensive player. Bert Abbott and Evan Klein rounds out the Mixtape starting 7. On a gorgeous day, these might be the first clouds we've seen all weekend here in the state of Washington. We were up in Burlington, about 45 miles north of here the past couple of days, and there was no reprieve from the sunshine, but it was very pleasant. Bailey launches the opening pull as Mixtape in pursuit of the Triple Crown. They got the first win over Dragon Thrust 4 weeks ago in Blaine, Minnesota. Just under 7 weeks away from Nationals, and they have the pieces. Blackbird trying to get in the way today. Yokawa Oka, an important handler for this O-line. He was playing primarily defense when these two teams met in pool play, but for Blackbird, this tournament has largely been about making adjustments. One of them is having the lefty Kawaoka handling at the outset today.
And that's been such a smart decision. Anytime things look like it's getting dicey for the Blackbird offense, Kawaoka is able to find a narrow lane and keep the disc alive.
This is Wiebe. The lefty sneaks it through. Gilligan in the red zone. And Wiebe is in. That gives her the tournament lead with 14 goals. She has scored more than anyone this weekend for Blackbird.
I was talking to Coach Bevin before the game about Wiebe and her performance. He says she's just a very intelligent cutter. She's able to find her space as well, and you see here she's setting up her own goal as she passes the disc to Gilligan, and then immediately moves downfield to try and get herself in optimal position. That's how she's able to score so frequently for this Blackbird squad. Of course, it helps when your teammates have throws like Tim Gilligan does.
Wiebe, a product of the University of Oregon. She played for Fugue, a very strong program, obviously, in the Northwest. And, you know, talking to Parikh, teams just are underestimating her and not really prepared for her downfield dominance.
He had a very interesting point about her performance. When teams don't know what she's capable of doing, she scores frequently and often. When they do understand what a threat she is, she opens up space downfield for someone else because the opposing team adjusts and typically pulls someone, an extra defender, back to stop her from scoring the disc, leaving someone unmarked. So whether she's scoring the goals or making space for someone else, she's essential to Blackbird's offense.
Mark Burton is out there for this first O point for Mixtape. Nick Dare and Jesse Bolton, along with Drew Johnson, the handlers. Burton downfield with Claire Revere, Brad Hauser, and Abby Abramovich. Beg your pardon, it's Kircher rather than Abramovich downfield for Mixtape. Here's Burton, he's always looking to launch. Jesse Bolton, who started the point as the center handler, goes deep for the opening goal for Seattle. That's a glimpse of Mark Burton's role on Seattle Mixtape right there.
Absolutely, and it's exactly what Blackbird knew Mixtape wanted to do going into this game. They were trying to force Mixtape underneath, make them throw a lot of throws, but with Burton at the helm, there's only so much of the field you can take away.
Jesse Bolton, well-rounded player out of Carleton, grew up playing high school in the youth scene in Seattle. Jesse Bolton and Henry Fan and Khalif El Salam all played middle school ultimate together. So a good start offensively for both teams, a pair of turnover-free holds. Mixtape, the only undefeated team at the tournament, going through pool play, 3-0. Every game here at the Pro Championships is tough. Winning Pool A over Blackbird, Chad Larson experience, and Dragon Thrust. And it was a really great semifinal yesterday between Seattle and Seattle. Mark Burton told me that he was hoping that Mixtape and BFG would meet in the finals so they could have the all-Seattle showdown on ESPN3, but the bracket did not work out the right way. Milking it all the way into the end zone, and a one-throw goal for Blackbird. John Cobb, the veteran from Chicago, runs it down, and it's very quickly 2-1 San Francisco.
Not much that Mixtape would stop right there. Great throw from Gilligan, and then John Cobb, recognizing that he had both steps and position on his player, was able to milk that throw right into the end zone, meaning he did not have to wait for his entire team to catch up and try and set up their red zone offense. Very easy score for Blackbird.
Fine throw from Gilligan out of San Diego State. And one thing about this weekend, Megan, whether it was up in Burlington the past couple of days or here in Everett, Washington, much closer to downtown Seattle today, hasn't been much wind. And pretty good conditions for hucking, which has made zone and junkie defense a struggle for opponents. It's been an offensive-minded weekend.
Right, when you don't have a little bit of wind making that disc flight path change just a little bit, it can really cut down the number of defensive options you have. So it says a lot when a team is able to set good marks and try and take away throws. But that being said, there's really only so much you can do without constantly changing your defense to keep the opposing team's offense guessing.
Blackbird played a bunch of close games in pool play. They fell to Dragon Thrust in their Saturday morning opener by 1. Bounced back with a win against CLX after losing to Mixtape as well. Blackbird was close to being 0-3. If they did get the 1 win, and really their goals for the weekend haven't necessarily been based on wins. And they're talking about they want to play well, they want to be supportive, they want to have fun, and the wins are a bonus. Still no turnovers yet in the game. Drew Johnson had one of the greatest layouts of the weekend in any division at a critical moment late in the game against BFG yesterday afternoon. This is Brad Hauser. Burt looking for his second assist. And there was a pick downfield, so we'll get a stoppage. You see the discipline here with the spacing for Seattle, creating cutting lanes both on the open and the break side.
Coming in at 6.
Coming at 6.
We are getting the Burton-Taylor matchup here. And Bolton on the open side gets free. Bolton shook away Skip Sewell to tie it up 2-all.
I really love watching Jesse Bolton putt. He is such a sneaky runner that having someone like Mark Burton be able to quarterback the disc for that type of player really leads to a lot of great connections between the two of them, as we've seen twice so far this game.
If you're a young ultimate player and you're marked by a guy like Mac Taylor with the wingspan, it can be intimidating. But Burton constantly changing his angle, stepping across, using his pivot really well.
Right. After time, that is definitely going to move your mark. And if, like you said, so your mark has the wingspan of Mac Taylor, that's the best you can do to make sure you get your disc off without a hand block.
Pretty false alarm on that pole for Mixtape.
John Cobb was looking long. It'll go back to Bars Lang underneath. If you're not familiar with Bars Lang, he's one of the most fun guys to watch in the mixed division. One draw-dropping layout after another, it seems, for the Bars. Not in the end zone yet. Castle Sinacrope dishes in, and right on cue, it's Bars Lang bidding for the goal.
It's like he heard you, Evan, and knew it was time to perform for the cameras.
Sinacrope to the end zone for Bars Lang, and the Blackbird score.
We'll see Castle Sinacrope's younger sister Amber with Boston Brute Squad later today. Castle originally from Amherst, Massachusetts, connecting with Bars Lang. You've gotten to watch Bars the past couple of years. What else stands out to you about his game?
Well, I think the thing that makes him the most interesting to watch is he's the type of player who makes plays that you think, oh, that's a definite turnover. So his closing speed is phenomenal. His ability to read the disc and his ability to time his jumps and his layouts make him just the perfect receiver for what you expect to be an errant throw.
So no turnovers. Picture perfect offense through the first 5 points. This is the final day of the Triple Crown Tour regular season. This event culminating the season, and then it's on to the series. Sectionals, regionals, and then nationals. Sarasota. We're heading back to Sarasota. October 19th through the 22nd. We'll be here before you know it. Pull out of bounds goes to the brick in the center of the field. That's where Nick Dare will initiate play. Dare, one of the original members of Mixtape program in year 5 now. Made a surprise appearance in the finals back in 2014 as the deep shot goes up. And the slight misread leads to the turnover. Kai Fong was open, but he got turned around.
Mixtape unable to connect in the end zone.
And he couldn't make the play.
The first error, which is strange simply because that looked like such a beautiful shot from Dare. Fong uncontested as he made that attempt and second attempt, but wasn't able to reel it in.
Lexi Hassan's flick intercepted by Dominic Cavallero. Deep shot intended for Taylor, but not nearly enough sauce on that shot. Great hustle from Kawaoka, but now Dare going up the line, gains the yards. Miscommunication and another giveaway. Dare thought Burton was going to go up the line. He came back toward the handler set, and nobody was making the cut.
Dare able to make that cut because Kawaoka made a bid for the disc. Dare, recognizing that he was unmarked, instantly struck up the line. Kind of surprising to see this miscommunication from Mixtape. As I've said earlier, they've been coalescing so well this game. It's surprising to see that the errors they've made have been primarily unforced.
There's Taylor going deep. Good throw from Tommy Hendrickson. Taylor floats it into the end zone for the goal. And the first break of the day belongs to Blackbird. Lexi Hassan from Mac Taylor, 4-2 San Francisco.
Mac Taylor to the end zone for Alexander Hassan, and the Blackbird score. That's San Francisco 4, Seattle 2.
Obviously a couple of missed opportunities for Seattle, and finally Blackbird capitalizes.
Right, and it was looking a little bit dicey here as Taylor was waiting for his teammates to show up. The stall count was rising. Really some very tough defense from Mixtape to take away the obvious options, but you got to credit Hassan for getting herself into the end zone and positioning herself well, moving the instant Mac turned towards her so that she was able to make an unguarded cut. Had she waited just a little bit longer, Mixtape would have recognized, taking away that option, we might have seen a stall call. As I said, the stall count was rising for Mac with that disc.
Hassan, the youngest member of Blackbird, just graduated from Cal, where she played for Coach Manisha Dariani. And of course, Mac Taylor, a veteran, University of Colorado Mama Bird. He'll be 32 this December.
Adam Scow on that goal for Blackbird.
Adam Scow, one of the original members of Blackbird with the pull. There are 3 original Blackbirds on this team. Scow, Hendrickson, and Sheena Sloven being that exclusive trio. Claire Revere does not have the legs to get there.
Big turnover on the deep look.
Blackbird team founded in 2011 by Brian Garcia. Obviously, they had great success immediately. That was in a time when so many teams from the Bay Area were in the national championship mix in the mixed division. They had Mischief winning in 06, and then Polar Bears taking a title in 2010. Great rivalries, jockeying for talent between those teams. And while the Bay Area has not won a title in mix since 2012. That's a nice shot, and then sliding into the end zone for the score. Skip Sewell makes it 5-2 San Francisco. Back-to-back breaks for the Bird.
Down in the end zone for Skip Sewell, and the Blackbird San Francisco
And Blackbird
5,
doing a great job
Seattle
of
2.
taking these opportunities
Yeah,
that
the
Mixtape
timeout on
is
the
giving
field.
them.
Six
Sometimes
teams
it can be
take their
difficult
first
when you
timeout in
play
the first
several
half.
points of defense and have not yet been on offense, which is exactly what happened at the start of this game. Both teams were playing perfect offense, so when Mixtape made that first mistake, defense was on O for the very first time. We saw them make an instant mistake, but that adjustment has come through. That opportunity, they capitalized in the first possession.
Adam Scow, the great shot for Skip Sewell, and now it's 5-2. Timeout called by Seattle. The consensus #1 team in the country, both from the mathematical algorithm based on their results and just the eyesight. You look at it, they look like #1. Here are the top 25 rankings entering the weekend. And parenthetically, you see the region and where they sit in the region. Big discussion about how the bid situation is going to sort out. And for San Francisco Blackbird coming to this weekend at 16th, they were trying to cement another bid for the Southwest region, and everyone believes that they have done that. We'll see what the math spits out later this week, but this Blackbird team trying to secure another region, another bid for the Bay Area region.
Yeah, as crucial as this tournament is, it's important to say that the weightiest crown of all is, of course, Nationals, which is in mid-October.
Blackbird was in the top 16, but did not have a bid secure before the weekend because the top team in the Southeast was outside the top 16. There are 8 regions in the country, and the way the Nationals qualifying process works is that every region is guaranteed at least one bid, and then based upon the strength of the top other teams in the country, they can earn other bids for that region. So it's possible a region could have 4 or 5 bids if they're that strong during the regular season.
Right, so it speaks volumes to how Blackbird's increasingly productive performance is going to help them continue and extend their season beyond the regular season.
What do you think Mixtape talked about during that timeout?
I'm sure that they talked about how much they enjoy playing together. To me, they seem a team that is really focused on the love they have for one another. So I have to imagine that they were like, hey, we play well together. We know each other really well. Let's get back on the same page. Let's make the connections that we know we can make and take this game away.
Well, worked like magic. Bolton with his 3rd score.
Dominic Cavallero to the end zone for Jeffrey Bolton and the Mixtape score.
Cavallero with a
Francisco 5,
pretty
Seattle
solid
3.
shot here, allowing Bolton to run it down. 6 of the 8 points in this game have been turnover free.
Really nice shot from Cavallero. You see Kawaoka was in the area, yet Cavallero made sure to keep that angle tight. Enough to stay within Bolton's periphery, but not wide enough that it gave a defender time to close in on him and potentially take it away.
Mixtape has fallen behind in some games. They were down 3-0 at the start against BFG in the semis, but they have always found a way to close strong, winning a bunch of close games and really looking like the strongest team here. There's a near mistake, and the attempted greatest does not come to fruition for John Cobb, and there's the first turnover of the game for the Blackbird O-line. Hicks set downfield. Bailey's going to give it back to his unmarked teammate.
Just will go back.
Bailey and Cobb disagreeing about where each other was. Bailey, a bundle of energy. He's got pretty good hops, though. He's a former All-American high jumper. Fan off to Abbott. captains. There's Bailey. Another pick downfield called by Blackbird. And an error. Casual on the reset. Fan and Abbott cannot connect.
Tim Gilligan coming over to pick up for Blackbird.
And back to live action, the deep shot. Too far for VY Chow.
He's just going back to Mixtape.
It's awesome to see VY Chow still out there playing. She's had a legendary career, about 20 years of experience. Won a bunch of titles with San Francisco Fury, also played for Godiva, Traffic, and Brute Squad. Acrobatic bid there from Cinecrope. Megan, it's possible. Well, there's Henry Fan thought he had it. I think he did too. Possible that regardless of today's result, depending on what happens in regionals, of course, Seattle Mixtape could be the #1 team in the country heading into nationals. Contact from behind. Seattle keeps the disc. Certainly a win today would do wonders for Blackbird's confidence as a team heading into the series.
I think it would do more to help the audience at large understand what this team is capable of. I think secretly they've known what kind of potential they have as a team. And historically, Blackbird has peaked at the appropriate time in the year.
That's a really good point.
So I think they, better than anyone else, know what they're capable of. And are positioning themselves to perform in October as opposed to shocking the mixed division earlier in the season.
Fan sets the pivot foot on the goal line and finds Bird Abbott with a clean clap catch. That's Seattle's first break of the game. We got one of them back.
Bird Abbott in the Mixtape score. San Francisco 5, Seattle 4.
Bird Abbott seems like she always shaves something different into the back of her head every tournament. She had the Mixtape last year at Nationals, of course, or 2 years ago.
Bert is such a fun athlete to watch on the field. She's got a very dominant presence, puts herself in position well. It's no wonder she's both a leader on this team and one of the most productive players for Mixtape. She's just capable of doing so much for them.
I believe Shinzo is what is in the back of her hair today. And for those diehard Lion King fans out there, you may remember the names of the hyenas from the movie. It's true. Bird Abbott, Alex Duffel, and Mikey Cavanaugh each have one of the names of the Lion King hyenas shaved into the back of their head, because why not?
Apparently they've picked which personality each player emulates most in comparison to the hyenas.
Blackbird back on offense. Here's Kawaoka. Hendrickson. Scout. Kawaoka spent some time coaching with San Francisco Revolver after, quote-unquote, retiring from playing, but he has returned to the field, and he's still a dynamic handler, both as an offensive player and defensively.
Like I said, it's been a bit of an adjustment learning to play in the mixed division. He's primarily played in open.
Great handler defense, though, from Seattle. That's Mikey Cavanaugh hunting. Kavanaugh's prowl leads to the deep shot and the Seattle Mixtape score. Cogburn with the goal, and we are tied at 5.
Looks like it might have been a blown assignment. First, we see the Kavanaugh D that leads to the Mixtape possession. And then Cogburn all alone. I have to think that someone didn't realize she was their person.
Cole Johnson puts it right where it needed to be. This game began with 5 consecutive turnover-free holds. And now 4 of the last 5 points have been breaks. And a timeout called from San Francisco as the pendulum swings. The Seattle team obviously really blossomed from its background playing mini, playing Goaltimate.
Of the first half.
Ironically, the founder of the Seattle Goaltimate League is Skip Sewell, who's suiting up for Blackbird. That's the league that Mixtape largely plays in. Kane Bailey said that's where they learned all their dumb throws. So Skip Sewell's been playing the long game, anticipating today. Here's a look at the mixed bracket. All 8 teams in the tournament made the quarters. And you can see a lot of tight games. That Steamboat Dragon Thrust game, bottom left of the bracket, Steamboat had a 9-5 lead, and then Dragon Thrust closed 10-2. There were runs like that all through the weekend in this division, which I think bodes well for excitement heading into Sarasota.
Yeah, there were a lot of games that you were sure were going in one direction, and then the opposing team came back from behind, kept a lot of people guessing, made it very difficult to choose round to round which games you were going to play because there were so many interesting, fascinating matchups each round.
San Francisco Blackbird has secured a strength bid, most believe. Now they're trying to win a leg of the Triple Crown Tour. The mixed division as the underneath throw dropped by Weeby. And Abbott's quick throw defended well. And a couple turnovers traded back and forth. Mixed division, Megan, is the only division where we could see a Triple Crown winner this year. Of course, you got to win the U.S. Open, the Pro Championships, and Nationals to win the Triple Crown. And the women's division, of course, the women from Colombia, Medellin Revolution winning. They're not eligible for the Pro Championships or USAU Nationals. In the men's division, Seattle Sockeye won in Blaine, Minnesota, but were knocked off in surprising fashion by Chicago Machine yesterday morning in the men's quarterfinals. Kawaoka marked by El Salam. Great crossfield swing. VY Chow quickly into the end zone for Bars Lang. After a turnover apiece, Blackbird holds, and it's 6-5.
Blackbird using the entire width of the field very well here. It's a great throw from Kawaoka. The entire defense was set up on the opposite side of the field, so when Kawaoka sent that to VY, really opened up the possibility for that play to be made.
Yo Kawaoka, just a guy that loves Ultimate. I mean, you can clearly say the same thing about VY Chow for how long she has played. And Bars Lang continues to score goals. He won a gold medal with the USA Men's Masters team in Royan, France this past June. And again, on the beaches in France, was lucky enough to watch that USA Men's Masters team play. And you know, you're supposed to not be as fast on sand and not supposed to make the same type of spectacular plays from a speed standpoint, and that just doesn't apply to bars.
Some people do have that superhuman strength to be just as fast on sand.
Brian Scribner on the pole for Blackbird.
Scribner's pull Handled in the end zone, and Bolton at the center. Mark Burton, guarded by Mac Taylor, initiated in the handler, now going downfield a little bit. Halftime is at 8. Right now we are on serve. Each team has 2 breaks. Each team has turned it over 5 times in the first half. Drew Johnson for Claire Revere. That's good to see from Mixtape. Those 2 players are going to be pivotal as this team pursues its first title.
And Blackbird has talked about how vital the women are in making sure that they continue to outperform the competition. They frequently choose to have 4 women playing when they're on offense. That's something that's interesting about the mixed division is you can play 4 women, 3 men, or 4 men and 3 women. Offense gets to choose. That is typically Mixtape's decision. They know and trust the depth of the talent of the women on their roster, that they want to have 4 women on offense.
So 6-all as Drew Johnson dishes the goal. Last 2 Seattle goals dished by Drew and Cole, respectively. And Claire Revere. Yeah, I think, a few years ago, she played great for Seattle Mixtape, but her performance at College Nationals a couple years ago with the Whitman Sweets really put her on the map as a really tough cover. Enzo Vitiello back to Gilligan. There's Bars laying on the under, chased by El Salam. And El Salam cancels Bars Lang's flick up the line.
Just over to Mixtape, he'll put it in play as well.
Looking over the top. Ambitious opportunity, and it won't work.
He's got caught with the D. It looks like we do have a call
calling
in the
a
end
foul.
zone, however.
There's the hand block, and you can see the facial expression immediately of Lang.
There is nothing more painful and ultimate than getting stuffed like that.
And then we'll take a look. Was this a foul? It didn't look like there was contact. Evan Klein seems to be claiming that he had his hand on the disc, but John Cobb rejects that assertion. And the turnover stands. On 40, Baggish, Bradford, and Hubbard, the 4 orange-shirted observers. I think they got the call right there, although it was closer than I thought from the replay compared to what I thought live.
Yeah, but I don't think John Cobb's contact interfered with Klein's ability to catch the disc.
What about him touching the disc when Klein had a hand on it?
I don't think Klein stopped rotation of the disc.
I agree with you. Alex Duffel on the mark.
Coming out 1.
Sneaking that one through. El Salam is lurking, and he'll get the D. Second D of the point for Khalif El Salam.
Great heads-up D from Salam, who was keeping his eye on the disc in addition to the person he was marking. It's how he was able to close in and make that D for Mixtape.
El Salam is primarily focused on playing Dio, and he tried to make a cut right into, I believe, V.Y. Chow. And Chow took the brunt of the contact. spirits seem to be relatively light. Well, that's probably technically a pick on Chow, but just unfortunate awareness. She's trying to get around and set the flick mark, and Bars Lang running through that lane brought his defender with him.
Yeah, VY's eyes were on Burt, didn't quite see El Salam in her periphery.
Throw intended for Chow, it just popped up there, and El Salam makes that play almost every time. You've certainly played against VY Chow, Megan, through the years. Seen her win a lot of championships.
Yeah, I watched that from the sideline. She's a very
like
talented.
the rest of us.
She's a very talented player. Her experience obviously speaks volumes, but when you couple that with the fact that she's still a very athletic player, you know, it's not frequent at this stage in Ultimate's history that we get to this stage, someone who has 20 years of experience and is still a very impactful player. As players start to play younger and younger, obviously we'll get to that point. But frequently, you know, 10, 15 years is kind of the max that we see people play and then still play in the regular divisions, the mixed men's and women's, as opposed to then graduating to the Masters divisions.
Chow, good to see her walk off the field under her own power. Sally Mims replacing her. Six all first half here in the mixed final.
They turn out to put it in play.
Coming up later today, Seattle Riot, Boston Brute Squad, a rematch of last year's national championship game. In fact, the last two national championship games. Brute Squad, the two-time defending champ, winning both over Riot. Seattle's got the home field today. And then later, San Francisco Revolver and Chicago Machine. Seattle has its first lead of the game. The deep shot to Caballero gives Mixtape a 7-6 edge.
What a shot from Klein.
Somehow it snuck through all the defense.
There was a lot of zip on that disc, which really made it an absolute dart for Caballero. You know, when there's not a ton of spin on the disc, it can make it a loftier, slower throw, which does give the defense time to close in on it. You saw that disc starting to take a nosedive. That, of course, is the downside of putting a lot of zip on the disc, is then your target had better be there because it is coming down and coming down fast. But for that specific play, perfect put from Klein.
Just enough altitude on that shot to surpass the defense. And the first dime for Klein. Product of Virginia Tech, Charlotte, North Carolina native.
On that ball.
Kawaoka and Gilligan, primary handlers. Bars Lang. Downfield for Wiebe. He scored the first goal for Blackbird, has not found the end zone since. Good 20 yards on the undercut. There's 20 more. Wiebe squeezes it through to Kawaoka, playing through the contact. And Blackbird works it downfield, punctuated by Bars Lang's goal, his third of the game.
Mixtape has been putting on some very tight defensive pressure on Blackbird. See, the Blackbird likes to play a side stack, giving lots of room in the middle of the field to work with. And as they near the end zone, as they do right here, with that throw to Hassan, they set up, stack in the middle of the field, giving options on both sides of the middle of the field for the score. But there is a prime example from Z Chen of how tight the defensive pressure has been from Mixtape this entire game.
Maybe a little too tight on that up-the-line shot. Colliding with Kawaoka, but you see the high five, good spirit from both players after the point. And Bars in the end zone for the third time. Lexi Hassan picks up the assist, and we've got a point to take half. Currently, Mixtape is up a break. 3 breaks to 2 so far here in the first. And a pretty cleanly played first half. I think you'd expect that with these types of conditions. Not a substantial breeze, though it has picked up a little bit since the game started.
That's a good point, Evan. It doesn't seem to be impacting the throws too much, though.
Burton and Taylor matched up again. Vidiello on Bolton. Grace Noah with a rising stall count. Finds a reset. Dare to Burton.
A smart switch from Blackbird.
Back in 2014, Mark Burton did pretty much everything for Seattle Mixed. Led the team in goals, assists, and obviously turnovers too. He's improved his decision making, and that's on display here. He had several chances to huck into poor matchups or into a covered teammate earlier in the point. He able to bide his time and then find Hauser to take half 8-7.
Blackbird to the end zone for Brad Hauser in the Mixtape score. At halftime, Seattle Mixtape 8, San Francisco
Nice find from
7.
Dare to hit Burton in that spot. Had to put some inside out for that disc to make it there, but Burton then unmarked, able to put just a beauty out to Hauser.
So Mixtape leads 8-7, and they will receive to start the second half. So Seattle is up a break. And Burton with another gorgeous throw. That guy Seattle through and through. Hauser off in the deep threat for the Mixtape offense. And the Seattle team up 8-7. Hauser finds the end zone for the first time. Worth mentioning, Megan, that when these two teams played on Saturday, the halftime score was 8-7. Blackbird scored the first goal of the second half, tied it at 8-8. And then Mixtape went on a 6-1 run to go up 14-9, and they won 15-10.
Yeah, they certainly have the capacity and the talent to put it together. And as we've talked about earlier, the cohesion that this team displays or can display is really phenomenal.
We got 3 championship games coming your way today, and the first one has reached the half. Bhavin Parikh, the first ever coach of San Francisco Blackbird. He played at Duke from '99 to 2003. Went to grad school out in Cal and played mixed for about 11 years. Now leading San Francisco Blackbird, just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, trying to build toward October. Bhavin Parikh, an 8-7 first half. Your thoughts on the way you guys played and what's going to have to change to pull this one out?
Yeah, I was really happy with how we started the game. Lots of intensity, sticking to our game plan, and I think we just need to stick to the plan we set out, which is making throw a lot of passes, stopping them from going deep, and beating us up the line.
They've still gotten a couple of deep shots off. Is there anything you're going to do defensively to tighten down even more?
Yeah, we're going to talk to our team about really after someone releases the disc, rushing to get behind them. We're a little slow on that, and so they have a step. And so when they get that up the line cut, they have a wide open deep shot.
Couple injury questions. One, how does Mac Taylor look to you? And number two, is VY all right?
Yeah, so Mac looks good. His legs are great. His shoulder's hurting, which is why we don't have him playing on up. His throws are a little tough for him. It's his right shoulder, but he looks great on the field. And then VY, it's TBD whether she's going to come back in the game. I'm not clear on the diagnosis, but the trainer's going to check her out one more time.
All right, Bivin Parikh, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Head coach of San Francisco Blackbird. They're within one of Seattle Mixtape, the #1 team in the country, trying to make it 2 for 2 in the 2017 Triple Crown Tour.
I played hockey growing up. I also played soccer and lacrosse and tennis, snowboard, surf. Sports is a huge part of growth for me in developing teamwork and leadership skills, and it's fun.
It taught me discipline in every aspect of my life, be it on the track or in academics or working or just anything.
Sports is the only thing that I found that gives me everything I need to be successful.
Usually you fail a lot, at least I did when I was mountain climbing. And I learned a lot from my failures. And all the lessons and all the experiences that you gather during that time, you can apply to the next step in your life.
The lessons that I've learned through sport have helped me in my whole entire life.
So I want to encourage you guys to be the best player you can be and just work on your own talents, your own skills, and just try to rise to your potential. Go girl, go!
Where would I be without sports? That is a good question. I can't even answer that.
It is incredible for girls to play sports.
One of the great things about sports and developing leadership in girls is that it teaches commitment.
It's something that's helping them in the moment physically, mentally, psychologically, but also teaching them valuable things for life skills as well.
I'd like to welcome you guys. Today's topic, how a strong mind or a strong mental attitude can influence your attitude towards achieving difficult goals.
Track and field was where I fell in love. And it was a time for me to be able to challenge my emotions, my other disciplines that I had to say, you know what, I'm going to stay focused and be able to put it towards track and field to be the best person I could be.
I was the first student from my high school to get accepted into Stanford, and I was fortunate enough to receive an athletic scholarship. So for me, that was a game changer and a life changer.
This is an inclusive environment. It's a safe space. Everyone's welcome. It's all about being willing to be a part of a team. And from there, they really start to learn things about themselves.
Feels more confident about myself and to show other people out there that girls can play sports.
And we know not everyone's going to grow up to be a professional athlete, but the lessons that you learn in sports and athletics, you can carry with you throughout your life.
Sports for life matters because playing changes everything.
1, 2, 3. Sports!
8-7 Seattle. Mixtape in front of San Francisco Blackbird at the half. There were 5 total breaks among the first 15 points. Mixtape had 3, Blackbird had 2. But early on, Megan, the offense was pristine. 5 straight points without a turnover to get things started.
Yeah, it didn't seem like either defense could do anything to stop the power of the opposing team. And that continued for several points.
Jesse Bolton scored the first 2 goals for Seattle. He had 3 goals in the first half. Blackbird got the first 2 breaks, but then Seattle got the last 3. Do you notice anything change about the way Mixtape played after they took the timeout?
I feel as though their defensive pressure has started to mount just a little bit more. They're closing out opportunities and taking away just those little errant throws that Blackbird had put up. And then what's more important is that they really capitalized on those opportunities very quickly.
Yeah, Bavine Parikh told us before the game, we want to try to prevent them from hucking, want to force them to throw a lot of passes. And as this highlight package displays, Mixtape did have their fair share of deep shots, and they had a pretty good percentage when they let them fly. So Mixtape trying to get another leg of the Triple Crown Tour under their weight. They won the U.S. Open back in August, trying to kick off September with a win at the Pro Championships.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers,
and even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play ultimate, we live ultimate.
(8-7) Seattle at the half. Mixtape captain Bert Abbott down on the field, one of the resident defensive hyenas for the Seattle team. Bert, your thoughts on that first half? What changed when you guys called the timeout down 5-2?
We just talked about how we were trying to use our athleticism to get back into the game and just win everything with our legs. And I feel like we really brought some fire coming out of that half, or coming out of the timeout.
Typically, you have a very strong second half. What do you guys do at halftime to make adjustments? What do you talk about to be so dominant in the second half?
We usually just focus on one or two things on offense, one or two things on defense, and really try and get those two strong chains out there to make plays. Again, we just talked about running as hard as we can. It's late in the tournament, so we're trying to fire ourselves up through our legs as opposed to through our throws and getting creative and crafty like that.
Bert, the Seattle Mixtape team has really been in the mix, no pun intended, for many years in a row. But now you're the #1 seed, and you're the hunt a little bit. What's that dynamic been like, trying to fulfill those expectations externally?
It's really interesting because, you know, we make a lot of jokes about how many silvers we've gotten and how we're always the underdog, but coming into a lot of tournaments, the 1 seed and being up there in the power rankings consistently, it changes the mindset a little bit, and I think that we're trying to mature as a team because of those expectations, and it's an interesting thing as an individual and as a captain to adjust to.
What do you think will be the emotional mindset of the team if you don't walk away with a win today?
Oh, that's where we're comfortable, right? We're comfortable with silvers and with getting the target off our backs and being really hungry. And I think that we're also, you know, happy to walk away with a gold medal. So I think either way, this is a win for us because, you know, we're up at the top. We're in a showcase game again. We get a chance to perform under high pressure, and hopefully we can continue bringing that fire on the field so that we can leave feeling good about what we've done no matter what the score is.
Bert, always appreciate chatting with you. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Seattle Mixtape with a 1-break lead. They'll receive when we start the second half in just a moment. 8-7 Seattle leading San Francisco in the mixed final. Look at the first half scoring summary. Bars Lang and Jesse Bolton each with 3 goals apiece. Tim Gilligan a couple assists, and Mark Burton had the first 2 dimes for Mixtape, and then through the final score of the half, dishing to Brad Hauser to give Mixtape a 1-goal lead, and it's a 1-break lead. Seattle set to receive as the second half begins. It's great to have you with us, Evan Lepler and Megan Tormey from Everett, Washington, just outside of Seattle. We were up in Burlington the last couple of days. It was gorgeous up there. And this regular season culminates today. Seattle Mixtape probably going to be the #1 seed heading into Nationals regardless. Again, factoring in regionals play. If BFG knocked them off, or if Mixtape had a surprising loss at regionals, things could change, but they've put together a pretty good resume during the 2017 regular season to probably be considered the favorite, wouldn't you say, heading into Sarasota?
Yeah, interestingly, this was the first year that Mixtape held tryouts. Prior to this year, they just recruited their new players. So I think this opened them up to receive some really dynamic players and add some depth to their chart. That, plus the fact that the players who have been on this team for a while are really coming together better than they have in years past. That chemistry happens organically. You can't force it. And then the new players they have taken on this year have just fallen into the system really well.
They definitely have formalized things in terms of tryouts and being a little bit more purposeful in 2017, and that might be the difference. That little extra something to win it all. We'll see. Bolton to Burton. Largest lead of the game for Seattle.
Bolton to the end zone for Mark Burton, and the Mixtape score at Seattle 9, San Francisco 7.
To expand the thoughts on why Mixtape is performing so well, I spent some time talking with Mark Burton before the game, and he said, you know, we have our set plays, we try to run them. When the plays break down, we play an unorthodox style of ultimate that makes it very tricky to guard. And you see here, it's just an example of players being athletic, being quick, knowing each other really well. Bolton having faith that Burton will get open, sticking with him, keeping his eye on him, waiting for Burton to make the couple of fakes needed to open up that opportunity. Just an example of players who really trust one another and working well together.
They've got their pull plays, and occasionally you'll see a miscommunication when a pull play breaks down. But for the most part, this is a team when they're freestyling, when they're throwing over the top scoobers and no look backhands. That's when they're at their best. Important offensive point for the San Francisco O-line. Kawaoka marked by Fang. It's Duffel chasing Gilligan. Kawaoka breaks the mark for Lang. Salam defending him. Now Cobb, marked by Klein. Acrobatic break of the mark there with the underneath backhand. Alina Wiebe, the first Blackbird female to touch the disc on the point in the red zone. Kawaoka connects with Gilligan for the goal.
Blackbird really having to grind offensively that point. I think those 2 breaks from Kawaoka really demonstrate how vital he has been offensively for this team. Just able to break past that incredible Mixtape defensive pressure, really kept the offensive momentum going. You noticed how long they had to look for cuts to come, for players to get open. But when players like Kawaoka can break the mark to keep the disc moving, keep advancing the end zone, really increases their likelihood of scoring without deflection.
Tim Gilligan actually joined this team late. He has been on Blackbird before, but wasn't planning on playing this year. You know, we're 9-8 right now. It was 8-all in pool play when these two teams met before Mixtape broke away. Brad Hauser had a big game. Obviously, Jesse Bolton, very instrumental in the success as well. That was game 2 of the tournament on Saturday morning. Blackbird started 0-2, losing to Dragon Thrust and
Brian Scribner on the pole for Blackbird.
Mixtape. They avenged the Dragon Thrust loss in the semis, trying to get the better of Mixtape in the finals.
And so far, Blackbird has won when it mattered in this tournament.
Nice grab there from Kircher. Hauser. Fong. Drew Johnson is going deep, but he chooses the reset. Kircher to Johnson, to Dare, to the end zone. Hauser's unable to make the grab. It hovered for just an extra second. And the door opens for Blackbird.
Big turnover on the end zone look.
Credit the defensive effort from Adam Farron, staying with it, denying Hauser the second effort.
Yeah, it looked like an absolutely certain goal for Hauser, but Farron unwilling to give up. That determination certainly paid off.
Such a smooth possession. It looked like an easy score, and now the first turnover of the second half gives Blackbird a chance. Taylor gets the reset to Scribner. Hammering it cross field. Taylor was just floating into the deep space. And to the break side, he was wide open. The dump, a double layout. It's double happiness right there for this Blackbird team, living up to the name. Shiva Slovan and Christina Joseph. Fortunate not to collide.
Joseph's background as a gymnast, no doubt, beneficial for that layout.
She'll take a timeout. That's their first
So
timeout of the
Blackbird
second
takes the
half.
timeout. San Francisco knocking on the door just outside of the red zone to try to tie this thing up at 9. Another look at the top 25. Philadelphia Amp, Boston Slow White, Boston Wild Card, not at the Pro Championships. But these are the names of the teams that you'll probably see in Sarasota. Obviously, we could have surprises as well. Anything can happen at regionals.
It can, as we've seen in years past, especially in these areas where the talent level is so incredibly deep. Seattle, we watched BFG and Mixtape duke it out for the ability to play in today's game, and you just think it's unfair that one city should have so much talent.
Heading into the weekend, the Southwest only had one bid, but with the way Blackbird has performed, they will probably take a bid perhaps away from the Mid-Atlantic. Pittsburgh Alloy was in danger of dropping out of that strength bid scenario. Blackbird out of the timeout here. Already you can tell they're isolating Matt Taylor in space against Brad Hauser. And they get it to Taylor. He breaks the mark, not really intended to anybody, but the angle of the disc allowed Farron to run it down. Slovan to Mims. And that's well done. Great vision from Mims over the top of the covered reset and connecting with Scribner. We're tied at 9.
For Ryan Scribner in the Blackbird score.
The type of vision and anticipation that Sally Mims probably learned playing for Chicago Nemesis when Megan Tormey was the captain.
Cutting for, I was never the captain, but cutting for Sally Mims' backhand was one of my favorite elements of playing with her. Whenever she had the disc, I cut deep because she loved to put it. I would be happy to catch it. Scribner, also an old teammate of mine. He and I used to play together on the Dinosaurs, a team that did well enough at Trouble in Vegas.
The Dinosaurs, huh?
Yep.
You didn't come up with that, did you?
No, no.
It's not a bad name. I assume you guys weren't youthful, but it sounds like it should be a Masters team.
At the time we were youthful. But that's a good point. That would be a great Masters team name. It's up for grabs if anyone wants it.
How do you guys do at Trouble in Vegas?
So long ago, I can't remember.
I guess the results weren't the main takeaway from the weekend.
I don't think that ever is at the tournament Trouble in Vegas. I think you always just go for the fun.
All right, 9-all after that break from San Francisco. Mixtape offense back out there, and Bolton firing deep. Hauser shy of the end zone by about 8 yards. Burt up the line. Hauser's got it. Turnover free response from Seattle Mixtape to retake the 1-score lead.
Blackbird to the end zone for Brad Hauser in the Mixtape score.
Hauser is just such a creative utilizer of the field. He cuts well, he's athletic, but where he chooses to go always seems to be the right answer.
Hauser and Burton have developed a pretty darn good chemistry playing together. Brad Hauser turned 26 in May.
Khalif Al-Salam on the pull for
Not
Mixtape.
uncommon to see some dancing in the sidelines when you're in an ultimate tournament. Probably more uncommon to not see it. Bailey's on Gilligan. Z-Chen chasing Kaloka. And a pick downfield halts play. Aside from these two teams, Megan, who else in the mixed division stood out to you this weekend that will be looking to see what they can do in Sarasota?
Definitely BFG. They were a new team last year. This year they seem to have expanded on the talent that they put together last year. They're really a very fascinating team. They work well together in an organic fashion.
They're very close to being here. His deep shot going up for Lang. El Salam in the area. Another D for Khalif.
Good read from Lang, but even better positioning from El Salam.
Back to pick up.
Watch how he wrapped himself around Lang, running sort of a half circle to get himself in position just in time to jump up before Lang and take that opportunity away from Blackbird.
His third D of the final. Khalif, just 23 years old. He'll be 24 in November, but he's been playing for a long time. A couple of high school state championships at the Northwest School, class of 2012. Grew up in the Ultimate program at Mercer Middle School. And so many of these players on Seattle Mixtape have gone back into the coaching world, coaching middle school and high school Ultimate in Seattle. several teachers on the team. Cam Bailey asked us to give a shout out to Meeker Middle School, where his kids supposedly will be watching. It's hard to think of Cam Bailey as a serious teacher, but he commands the room, we'll just say that.
Doesn't mean he's serious, though.
Probably a pretty fun teacher to have.
It's more likely.
Travel call. Travel call is waved off by the observer.
Evan Klein with the disc. Abbott bids just shy of the goal line. He needs a swing. Launching it across the field. And Chen could not make the catch. It appears he called a foul.
Like we have a foul call.
Be interested to see that again, but it looked more to me like Chen ran into Kawaoka.
It's close. I can see the case for a foul. Kawaoka and Chen discussing it, the observers amongst themselves, and now they'll get involved. It was a foul. Observer ruling. So Chen will have the disc. Coming in at one. See Chen, another member of that Mercer Middle School crew with Khalif and Henry Fan, Jesse Bolton, also Lonnie Wynn and Ari Lozano. I mean, Ultimate teams are in so many different ways families. And
good? Okay, we good now? Excellent.
little observer sarcasm never hurt anybody. Well, these two organizations are both families, both Blackbird and the Bay Area. Chatting with Nick Slovan last night, who was the captain of Blackbird for many, many years. Talking about how he still feels like a part of the family, even though he's no longer playing this year. There have been several Blackbird babies wearing Blackbird jerseys moments after they're born, but there's Z Chen in the end zone. And the Mixtape lead swells to 2.
That break from Klein to El Salam left the Blackbird defense reeling. Not much they could do to stop Z Chen from sprinting into the end zone to reel that one in.
Blackbird with 2 straight scores to tie it at 9, and then Mixtape answers with 2 in a row back. Great to see a lot of Seattle youth players in the stands. It's got to be cool for them to watch some of their coaches and some of the players that they look up to, obviously, here in person, just outside Seattle. They are the future. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of middle school kids in there, and you look at Khalif and Jesse Bolton and Henry Fan and Lonnie Wynn. I mean, they were teammates in middle school, and here they are on ESPN, the #1 team in the country.
And that's what I think is the very fascinating thing about Ultimate right now, is how many players are starting to play earlier and earlier. And the number of players who play in a very competitive division who are then returning to teach these young players, putting them in higher pressure situations so that they come up and show us things that we did not even know possible in this sport. It's a very exciting time for Ultimate right now as we start to reach younger and younger crowds and they play in more organized fashion.
Timeout was taken by Blackbird. Got some work to do. The game has transpired pretty darn quickly. There haven't been too many really long points. 12 of the 20 points have had no turnovers. And there has not been more than 3 turnovers on any particular point. The goals have come pretty quickly, so that's all to say we've got another 12 minutes before the soft cap. There's no hard cap in the finals. Root Squad and Riot coming up a little bit later today. There's VY Chow back on the field. Good to see. Mac Taylor out there on offense for the first time in the game for San Francisco. And a junky look from Mixtape. Evan Klein hanging out in the deep space. Interesting for Mixtape to throw this defense here kind of out of nowhere.
I think that's always the benefit of throwing a zone, especially later in the game. Just when you think the offense is starting to coalesce, you can change it up.
VY Chow to Melina Wiebe. And Wiebe makes the juggling, toppling grab in the end zone for the clutch Blackbird score.
VY Chow to the end zone. Melina Wiebe brings it in for the Blackbird score. That's Seattle 11.
Blackbird obviously more than thrilled to have VY back on the field after her earlier injury. And Wiebe showing exactly why she is such an authoritative receiver. It is not easy to keep your eyes on the disc as you are falling towards the ground, but she manages to do that and maintains contact with the disc as her body makes contact with the ground.
15 goals in the weekend now for Wiebe, who played at Beach Worlds for the mixed team from the United Arab Emirates. She played for Team UAE, and she led them in goals, of course, with 19 goals in France. VY Chow has more gold medals than she knows what to do with throughout her career. Mac Taylor staying out there to play D with a score 11-10. Seattle by 1.
Vidiello on the pull for Blackbird.
Vincenzo Vidiello launches the pull. And it sails just wide, so Bolton will take it to the brick. Vertical stack setting up downfield with
Jesse Bolton back to pick up for Mixtape. He'll put it in play from the brick mark.
Cavallero and Hauser. Drew Johnson. And Grace Noah also on the field for Mixtape. Oh, what a catch by Drew Johnson. I'd be surprised, except seeing her do that several times throughout the weekend.
It was just part of her normal repertoire.
We'll give and go, Cavallero to Hauser. One thing about having Mac Taylor deep on Burton, we'll see, but theoretically, I'm not sure you want to huck at Mac Taylor. And Taylor's kind of playing underneath Burton to bait that a little bit. Burton comes under, and they work to get it to him. And he's obviously looking deep for Brad Hauser, and here we go. Hauser versus Hendrickson. Hendrickson wins the battle, and Blackbird will have the disc and a chance to tie.
Perfect timing on Hendrickson's D there. Went up earlier than Hauser, and that proved to be the right answer.
Vidiello picks up
Kevin Parikh was talking about Tommy Hendrickson before the game, saying how he's one of the most underrated defenders in the division. He's been playing for a long time and may not get the recognition, but makes big plays one after another. Unfortunately, there's miscommunication as Hendrickson wanted Taylor deep.
Blackbird turnover on the
Farron was also hanging around that deep space, but nobody went for the cut. Looking for Cavallero. He is wide open. The disc hangs up for him, and he'll time it perfectly. So each team turns it over once. A missed opportunity for Blackbird. Mixtape back up by 2.
Hauser showing his skill on both sides of the disc with that put.
Vidiello doing everything he could.
2 attempts, but Cavallero's patience won out.
And he had the position, which enabled him to be patient.
But similarly, when you have defense jumping twice at your back, it can force you to make the wrong decision. Cavallero played pretty much like there was nobody there, in that he didn't let the defensive player's movement impact what he knew was the right way to read that disc.
San Francisco's O-line back on the field again. Gilligan, Kawaoka, Cobb and Lang. Out there with Chow, Borquist, and Wiebe. Nearly a D for Kavanaugh. John Cobb's a nice guy to have at 6'6". He can throw around most marks, and in a desperation situation, he can just put it up high for the big guy. This time, Cobb picks up the assist. Good disc movement. And V.Y. Chow with another score. Blackbird keeping pace.
Chicago was sad to see John Cobb go, but it's definitely been to Blackbird's benefit. Also of note, John Cobb's wife, Laura Moore, is also on this Blackbird team, but her schedule as a doctor didn't allow her to make the trip to Seattle this weekend.
You know, it's hard to imagine this Blackbird offense without Kawaoka on it, because earlier in the weekend he was playing primarily defense. He's been so involved, and Gilligan too, who wasn't on Blackbird earlier in the season. Those two guys have really transformed this team's O-line.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I think that's where having the head coach, Kevin Parikh, has made a difference for Blackbird. You know, outside of Ultimate, he's the CEO of Magoosh, the education company, and has experience being not an authoritative leader, but rather looking at the talent he has in front of him and organizing it accordingly. And so his abilities as a CEO have really enabled him to be the kind of adjustment maker that allows the talent of Blackbird to really shine.
And Blackbird had never had a coach before. They weren't looking for an authoritarian taskmaster. They just wanted some outside perspective, someone who could share their opinion. And Kevin Parikh married to Castle Sinacrope, who was already on the team. It just worked out well. Castle's father is watching their 2-year-old daughter while they're busy at the field. And Seattle takes a timeout near the goal line.
That's Seattle's first timeout of the second half.
Mixtape still has one timeout left, and tough grab there to keep possession alive. Lonnie Wynn. 12-11 Seattle, timeout Mixtape. Coming up around 12:30 local time, 3:30 Eastern, we'll have the women's final between Seattle Riot and Boston Root Squad. And obviously those two teams very familiar with one another, meeting in the national title game each of the past 2 years. And later today, San Francisco Revolver and Chicago Machine. Again, Dare will have the disc. Adam Scow on the mark. To Bolton. See the discipline downfield. Players biding their time. And now Burton tried to squeak free, but Kai Fong Scuba was rejected by Corey Lee. Active hands on the mark. Never went wrong.
Some pretty unorthodox throws from the Mixtape offense. He claims that that is what has helped them be so successful. But great defensive awareness from Corey Lee on that particular throw.
Less than a minute until the soft cap horn sounds. Deep shot from Lee, looking for Taylor. That's going to get over Mark Burton. No, it won't. Taylor did not attack. Burton gets the D.
Mark Burton with the D for Mixtape. He'll go back to pick up as well.
Coming in at the last possible moment to make that incredible D. Looked a little shooken up after the play, though.
Day 3 of the weekend leads to those types of aches and pains.
Takeaway for Blackbird.
Another giveaway for Mixtape, and Blackbird looking for the equalizer. There's the soft cap horn. We'll add 2 to the higher team score after this point. It'll either be 12 all game to 14 or 13-11 game to 15. Bolton easily intercepts the pass from Scow.
Bolton with the takeaway for Mixtape.
Sending Lonnie Wynn to Burton, to space, and a wide open Kircher. Beg your pardon, that's Avi Abramovich. 13-11, Mixtape leads, and the game will be to 15. Huge missed opportunity for Blackbird.
And that was clearly a miscommunication between 2 Blackbird players. Mixtape happy to capitalize. You see this big, beautiful throw from Bolton, easily pulled in by Wynn. And then Abramovich setting herself up to be an easy receiver for Mixtape. Now, all this action is happening on one sideline, and here she is streaking down the field on the other to make sure there's an option in the end zone.
Avi Abramovich was playing against Mixtape at a tournament, and she was just having so much success against Seattle that afterwards they basically begged her to join their team, and she has been a huge addition. The Boise native in her first year on the squad. So it feels a little like desperation time for San Francisco. Awaoka connects with Lang. Gilligan and Cobb out there with Chow, Wiebe, and Bjork and Sinacrope. Wow, Lang cannot connect with Cobb.
Blackbird turnover. Fort Abbott coming over to pick up for Mixtape.
Mixtape can't clinch it here, but they can put themselves in a really good spot. Klein launching. Jen Cogburn in the end zone, over her head. Good pressure from Wiebe late that forced Cogburn to go up maybe a half second before she wanted to.
Yeah, she closed well. And here's an example of where even if the defender doesn't have optimal position, their presence can make the intended receiver misread the disc.
Blackbird does not have a timeout. Gilligan fires. Lang in the area. Better defense though from Klein. Kind of an awkward collision between Klein and Lang. Both players a little shaken up.
The shape of that disc lent itself
The Blackbird player injured on the play.
to fly straight towards Klein. Lang tried to close the opportunity or the optimal position that Klein had, but instead just caused a collision that had to have been uncomfortable for both of them.
Taylor will come in for Lang.
Mac Taylor on for Blackbird.
Klein is also going to take one. Bolton will replace him. Mixtape's disc. That type of shot have a little air of desperation to you?
Absolutely. Looking at Blackbird's offense right now, they look incredibly flustered. There is no easy or obvious option downfield. They're having to put some really tricky break throws to get things moving. It's almost as if Mixtape's defense has just slowly and carefully started to close down lanes.
How about that deflection? It's Gilligan laying out for the D, giving Blackbird a golden opportunity for a quick score. Cobb to Gilligan. The one-goal game again.
Gilligan in the bookend score for Blackbird. At Seattle 13, San Francisco 12.
Bookends for Gilligan.
Gilligan had eyes on that disc as soon as he realized Burt was going to put it. Great position Blackbird had to start off that offensive possession. Gilligan made a great cut, giving himself bookends. Nice easy put from John Cobb. Ensured that it would be a success.
So Blackbird still very much alive. You see the Chicago flair on John Cobb's cap.
And sweatband.
And sweatband. So you see the D-line for San Francisco. Taylor in the middle. Sally Mims. Tommy Hendrickson as well, and this Mixtape O-line has been pretty consistent. Claire Revere back out there.
The pull for Blackbird.
Hauser for Cavallero. Kai Fong. Kircher and Johnson. Maybe the first time in the game that Burton's beginning the point in the backfield.
I think Taylor has done a good job of taking away his potency downfield.
Yep.
And he realizes he can make more of an impact behind the disc as opposed to cutting downfield.
Over to Blackbird on the
Yet again, the door opens for Blackbird. Blackbird, ambitious shot from Kircher. Way too far. Hendrickson to Taylor on the under. Taylor's taking off. Hendrickson to Kawaoka on the slash. Farron. And dropped by Hassan on the doorstep.
Blackbird turnover.
That one stings for a Bay Area Ultimate fan. Again, it's a game to 15. The mixed final, the USA Ultimate Pro Championships. Cavallero rips it. Kai-Yi Fong's got it. Kawaoka gets the mark on to Burton. Burton wasn't looking. He had Kircher wide open downfield initially. You can hear the crowd imploring the throw.
What's the count? Coming on 4. Are we good? Hold on. Are we good? All right. Whenever you're ready.
Foul.
Contest or
in the thick of things.
No contest. We got a foul coming on 1.
Uncontested foul. Burton to put it in play, coming in on 1.
Good matchup between Revere and Hassan. Revere up the line, wins the matchup. 14-12 mixtape.
And the mixtape score. Seattle 14, San Francisco 12.
Megan, you can't say that Blackbird didn't have chances.
No, you certainly can't. Here, Hassan drops the disc. You know, I have to chalk that one up to her youth. Just a recent college grad, hasn't been in a ton of high-pressure games. That's going to change as she develops as a player. But Mixtape all too happy to take that opportunity, put themselves in optimal position. Even though Burton didn't see his player be wide open the first opportunity, the second, he wasn't about to miss it.
Claire Revere, one of 3 members of Seattle Mixtape that'll be heading to Australia on the U24 USA team, along with Henry Fan and Ari Lozano. Abby Abramovich and Blackbird's Lexi Hassan are on the U24 women's team. And Mark Burton continues to pile up the assists.
Cam Bailey on the ball for Mixtape.
Blackbird needs 1 hold and then back-to-back breaks. They got to score 3 in a row. Making a few extra yards. Gilligan to Lang. You see Bars back out there. Kawaoka gets there. Get another stoppage. Cobb will keep the disc, but Bailey gets to step a few yards closer. Cobb wants Gilligan. Gilligan on the second effort. Bids and scores for Blackbird.
John Cobb to the end zone. Tim Gilligan making it interesting when he brings it in for the score.
Great persistence from Tim Gilligan.
Seattle 14, San Francisco
At a time
13.
more crucial than any other point in this game. It's a fantastic put from John Cobb. Gilligan forced to go up a little bit earlier. And then as everyone else thought that the play was over, Gilligan turned the corner, made the layout grab.
Yeah, Jen Cogburn might have some regret rewatching the film because she just kind of thought, well, I did enough, and Gilligan had no such hesitation. Three goals, 2 assists for Gilligan. Played for San Diego Street Gang and San Francisco Revolver. Men's division in the past. John Cobb, of course, going to nationals with the Chicago UP8 team a couple years ago. Also played for Machine in the men's division. So, Does Blackbird have what it takes to get 2 more breaks in a row? Seattle's O-line back out there. You see Johnson, Abramovich, Bolton.
On the pole. On the pole for Blackbird.
Wynn, Mark Burton, Brad Hauser, Dom Cavallero trying to wrap up another Triple Crown Tour victory.
But you did have a foul called.
Johnson and Sinacrope solving the dispute. Coming in at 1 for Mixtape.
For Mixtape. Castle Sinacrope on the mark.
I think everybody's ready for the resumption of this point. Bolton. Hauser. Once again, Taylor was denying Burton the under. Cavallero called for a travel. He'll backpedal a step. Here's Bolton on the doorstep. Squeezes it through, and Seattle wins it. Lonnie Wynn clinches another Triple Crown Tour victory for Mixtape.
All 3 throws to win today have been tricky, but she has proved her sticky hands are absolutely unstoppable.
Seattle Mixtape 15. San Francisco Blackbird 13. Great game, everybody.
The Seattle team knows what it's like to finish in second. The first place finishes have been the story in 2017 for Seattle Mixtape. It'll be fun to see this matchup again in Sarasota. Blackbird is certainly going to bemoan some missed opportunities late in the game. Mixtape, like they have throughout the tournament and throughout the season, made big plays late in the game and get to celebrate. Seattle Mixtape 6-0 at the USA Ultimate Pro Championships, formerly known as the Pro Flight Finale. And this pretty much cements Seattle Mixtape #1 in the nation. They'll be the #1 seed in the mixed division heading into Sarasota. 15-13 over Blackbird. We'll be back. The USA Ultimate Pro Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar. Find the official disc of USA Ultimate at more than 1,900 U.S. retail locations. 15-13, Seattle Mixtape wins the Pro Championship final against San Francisco Blackbird. #1 team in the country, hangs tough against a pesky Blackbird squad. Mark Burton, I know you weren't feeling 100%, but you're still able to get the win. How does this one particularly feel?
It's great. It's a joy. I think we use that word joy a lot through the ups and the downs, and to first win the U.S. Open, and then we were hungry for one more, and to take it here. It's a joy to be part of this team, and this team is just so much fun, as you can see, and I love it. So yeah, it was a great win. Blackbird played a heck of a game. They took it to us, and we knew they were gonna be good.
You don't know those guys, do you?
Nope. No, one might be my brother, and the other one is one of my good buddies, best friends. So yeah.
Well, the road for you is not over. You guys now stand the chance to win that third crowd. Do you sense any pressure that that is going to be tough for the team to handle?
No, I think they've been here. We've been here numerous times throughout the last years, 3 years going and 4 years going. So we're hungry. We're ready. We got a great team, as you can see, and I think we're showcasing, highlighting that we're not just athletic, that we're not just the team that always depends on the deep ball, but we're working more and more at becoming systematic. But when things break down, good luck. Good luck trying to stop us with the improv that we do.
Mark, Mac Taylor was guarding you for much of the game today. I know he makes things difficult. You still got 6 buckets, 6 assists, but what was it like going up against him?
He's one of the best in the game. He's a guy who I looked up to. I mean, I started from pickups and leagues, and he's a guy that I always heard Mac Taylor. And even out there, he was giving me a little advice and watch the hands and other stuff. And I go, you're absolutely right. And I'll listen to everything that you say. So it's total respect for him. And he stopped me a lot. And I was just trying to keep him occupied. I'm really happy. I'll admit it. When I got that D on him, I didn't expect it. I thought I was going to get skied, but I'm happy I jumped, I think, first and just got enough of it. But mad respect for him, and I love being his teammate at layout, and I'm looking forward to more, hopefully.
In the second half of this game, especially, Mixtape's defense looked absolutely stifling. What adjustments did you make between the first half and the second half to really just stop the Blackbird offense?
I think our ladies did a great job pressuring the unders. Their stack was it's very familiar in the Bay Area from what I've seen in game tape with using the sides, and every side they clear across. And so I think our women did a real great job protecting the unders when they did come under and forcing pressure on the marks. And the guys just stood out and stood their ground and did their job. But the women easily stepped up the second half.
Mark, we'll see you in Sarasota.
I appreciate it so much. Hey, 2 chains.
Mark Burton, thanks so much for your time. Congrats on the win. 15-13. Here's a look at the Triple Crown Tour regular season, a major Seattle flavor in the 5 regular season tournaments to the Triple Crown Tour.
Yeah, Seattle showing that their youth scene is really starting to step up and create just an absolutely incredible pool of talent. Seattle showing that they have the capacity to win and win again when the pressure mounts.
BFG may be a little bit more of a veteran team, but it's an incredibly strong scene in Seattle. Of course, Boston Slow White will be a factor, the defending champs. Minneapolis Dragon Thrust, 3-time champs as well, heading into nationals. Our Discraft Ultra Star play of the game at 14-13. Mixtape takes it down the field, turnover free just barely, as Bolton finds Wynn for the game-winning score.
Yeah, Wynn making a play when it mattered most for her team, ending it with an exclamation mark.
So Seattle Mixtape goes 6-0 at the Pro Championships, including 2 wins against Blackbird, and 14-9 over another Bay Area team, Mischief. They won the Crosstown Showdown against BFG by the slimmest of margins, and now Mixtape cements itself as the team to beat heading into the fall. That'll wrap up our first of 3 championship games. 15-13, Seattle takes this one over at San Francisco. All games airing on the ESPN network, streaming live on the ESPN app, or to watch the entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks. Log on to watchespn.com. Download the ESPN app. For Megan Tormey, this is Evan Lepler saying so long from Archbishop Murphy High School. Mixtape, the Pro Champions in 2017. This has been a presentation of ESPN.